science of turning fiction into fact.
Sometimes kind of real architectural life interferes with intellectual architectural life.
There is no such thing as architecture.
Hello everyone, this is Vikram Prakash and you are listening to Architecture Talk. Each episode we try and have a conversation with a contemporary thinker to advance the frontier of architectural thinking. Today I'm speaking to Remi Papillault. Remi has served as a scholar and as the director of the Fondation Le Corbusier. And today I am talking to him about his book Chandigarh and Le Corbusier, which has just been translated into English and is going to be published by Altrim Publishers. We both have a deep and abiding interest in Chandigarh and Le Corbusier, and you can tell that from this conversation. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go.
You know, I am preparing for tomorrow a lesson on Millionaires Building in Ahmedabad, because for years, you know, I have queries about this building on the archive of Le Corbusier Foundation in Ahmedabad with the millionaires themselves. I've met Balakrishna Doshi many times on this question. I met Jean-Louis Verret, which was the French guy in charge of 23 or 24 years old guy, you know, in charge of the 5 building of Ahmedabad. Just crazy to think about that. Yeah. And I know exactly, you know, through the agenda of Le Corbusier, how many times he have been there on site work.
How many times?
To control 3 times.
3 times.
3 times only. I know exactly, you know, how many drawings he have done and give to Balakrishna Doshi or give to Jean-Louis Verret. So you could go, because of the, you know, we are very lucky to work on that, because it's you could go deep in the intimity, you know, of the conception of the building.
Right.
You know exactly how many drawings, you know, the models, if there is a model or no models.
Right.
How he thinks about something. And for me, you know, the Millionaire Building, it's just like one of the top 5
ever. Yeah, it's just a rich conceptual building. It's just like a thought diagram made into a building. It's just incredible.
Incredible to understand how the conception of that. So few drawings, only 4 drawings. One morning he arrived, a Monday morning he arrived, and he gave 4 sheets of paper, A4, to Doshi, and that's it. No model, no model, no perspective, just 4 plan.
Yeah.
And asked to Doshi to put it in section and in plan. Of course, after that, he have a set of control about the drawing, you know.
Yeah.
But himself, he doesn't need any models or whatever.
Wow. Yes. I mean, that's so amazing. I mean, that's the thing I really loved about reading your book. As I was going through it, I knew you knew the archive intimately.
Yes.
I mean, I remember in 87, I think, when I was starting research first in grad school on my Chandigarh book, and going through the 4 volumes of the sketchbooks and finding every page when he was in Chandigarh and reading it, and then the translation. And a lot of quotations, you know, I took notes on and so on. But I know you have done just as intimate or even more intimate, deep understanding of every walk that Le Corbusier took. Yes, I mean, is that true? Yeah.
But you know, Vikram, as well, you know as well that we haven't, for the moment, the access to the Chandigarh archive, the archive from the architectural office, The work I have done with a lot of, research on archive and everything, but without any access to the archive in Chandigarh. I don't know if you have any chance on your career to go through this kind of archive in Chandigarh.
I have. It's available. I mean, if you go to the City Museum in Sector 10,
Yes.
the entire, all the Randhava papers are available. So that's like 20 volumes of papers. So it's not everything. And we don't have access so much to the chief architect's office. But the Randhava papers have a lot. I don't know if you have seen those in the Chandigarh Museum. So, but that tells a different story. What I was really impressed by your book and your research, which I relate and understand to, is the effort to get into the machinery of Corbusier's thinking process and design process. Yeah. Why are you so obsessed with this? Why is this so important for you?
In my teaching, in my seminar, I try to teach to the students to understand the story of conception of architecture. How an architect could conceive a building. So it's very difficult, if we go to the archive of Miss Van der Rohe or Louis Kahn, big and great architect. Even if you go to Aalto office in Finland, which I have done 5th time, actually. I have one student of me who is working on this material in Helsinki. You never go as deep as you can go with Le Corbusier. But I think for the students to understand, deeply the question of the conception, it's a great opening, after that for them to practice architecture.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so interested with that. And I have been, administrator of the Fondation Le Corbusier for 17 years.
Right. Yes.
So I was as a Parisian, but now I am not in Paris anymore. I am in Toulouse, south of France.
Yes.
Where there is a Airbus factory.
Yes.
But when I was for a long time in Paris, I used to go quite often, as much as I want. And for my PhD, I have plenty of time. And they opened for me everything. At this time, it wasn't, like now, where everything is online, most of the thing. So I was able, to touch the print, to touch the letters. If you like archive, if you like drawings, if you like, we are old school. I am old school historian.
Right.
I like so much the intimacy with the archive, because you could look better, you could zoom, you could take a loop and zoom on the drawings.
But where did all this start? I mean, all those years at the Fondation, how were you introduced to Le Corbusier? I mean, why is this critically important for you?
When I start teaching, I have been in charge for the first and second year of history of architecture. And for a teacher, now I don't teach history, I teach architecture.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, I think it's a chance when you start teaching to start with history. I was teaching all the history of architecture from the Egyptian on the first year, from Egypt to 19th century, and second year from 19th century to the end of the 20th century. And Corbusier, of course, have a great place, I knew Le Corbusier for my keenness because my grandmother was living near Ronchamp. So each year, my uncle or my father took me, to Ronchamp.
Pilgrimage.
Pilgrimage, exactly. It was a kind of pilgrimage, but I was, something like 5 to 15 or every year going there just to listen to some music. It wasn't for the architecture, it was for the music. And my family we are Protestant. This kind of architecture, it's fit very much with Protestant thinking.
Yes.
Protestant way of dealing with life, And so when I start to teach, I was quite confident with that. So I did ask to my director of the school in Paris to send me to India with 10 students, something like that. I asked him, to rent Royal Enfield to make a trip with the students, 10 Royal Enfield for 10 students,
10
one
Royal
for
Enfield.
me, to go from Ahmedabad to Chandigarh.
I have done that. I have done that trip also on motorcycle from
Really?
Chandigarh to Ahmedabad. Yes.
Lucky man. And because I do practice motorcycle for all my life, I still practicing with, but not with Enfield, with BMW.
Yeah.
And the director of the school told me, okay, Remi, I paid the trip for you and the students, but no motorcycle. Take the train. So that's what we did. And we went there. And it was in 97.
Yeah.
And it was India for me has been a great shock, deep shock. Le Corbusier was something, but India was more than Corbusier at this time, And
so imagine Corbusier showing up in India, 1952. Yeah.
We could imagine, yes.
What a shock it must have been for him.
Yes, we have traces of this shock. Go through the letters, through the sketches and everything.
Yeah.
It's very for everyone. If you are a bit, I have a friend, in fact, friend of me, who arrived in Delhi. It was in 2000, something like that. He arrived at the airport in Delhi, and he took a plane back.
No.
Without going out the airport.
What?
He has been too much, shocked. I remember, the first time I arrived. Now it changed. Now there is a kind of international way of living when you arrive in Delhi. Yeah. But at this time, when we arrived, it was a kind of 2,000-3,000 people waiting for friends, waiting for relatives in the airport. So it was all the humanity, for us, it was as soon as you go out of the airport.
So how is the shock traceable in Corbusier's letters, because you write about him being open to the other and sort of trying to be open to another perspective, but also other cultures. But how can you read the shock?
He wrote some letters, to his wife, Yvonne.
Yeah.
But the letters to Yvonne was very, a bit boring, without so many things, dear Yvonne, I love you, blah, 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 but no much detail.
Yeah.
If we want details, we have to go through the letters to
his mother.
To his mother, definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
To his mother. And to the mother, he gives, not so many details, but with a great sense of the word, he gives the exact impression he could have, because he was kind of literary person, So through the letter to his mother is not so much, but there is something like 10 to 20 letters, because he came 23 times. Each time he wrote at least 1 or 2 letters, but important letter were at the beginning when he arrived. And the first trip, second trip, there is very impressive letter. But we have to understand as well, Vikram, that he's a strange man, because he has been 23 times in India without visiting nothing except what Sarabhai mother, Sarabhai, show him, Sarkej, Adalajvav, the great Jama Masjid in Ahmedabad, and nothing more. He never went to Agra, he never went to even to Delhi, so very few things, in Delhi.
He did see the Jantar Mantar in Delhi.
Yes, he did see the Jantar Mantar. There is a drawing. There is a drawing of that. But no Jaipur.
No Jaipur, no Taj, no Fatehpur Sikri,
no Fatehpur Sikri, nothing. In 23 years, but even Pierre Jeanneret.
Well, Pierre Jeanneret was an ascetic, right? I mean, he just like put his head like this and never traveled anywhere. Why? What do you mean? Why didn't he do that?
I am doing a movie on Pierre Jeanneret, actually, with a friend of me called Christian Barani. And we have done together with Barani a great exhibition in Paris on Chandigarh. It was with 8 big screen of the city. We have spent months doing captation, with camera in Chandigarh, and we have done a movie of 14 hours. A movie of 14 hours. So on one side of the room, but it was a huge room. It's 50 meters length by 12 to 13 on the other large. And movies, models, drawing of Le Corbusier, and in the center of the exhibition, sketchbook, the original sketchbook. And the Fondation Le Corbusier give me, the authorization to present the sketchbooks, of course, with the protection, of course, with the light, protection and everything. But it was fantastic, to do that. So now we are doing a new movie with this guy, which is, I would like to present. He's going to Chandigarh next week. He starts, with Jeanneret next week. And the idea is to understand who was this guy who spent 15 years, in Chandigarh, building hundreds of housing, school and buildings of all sorts, Who was he?
So who were they? You tell me. I mean, who was Corbusier? Not the architect and the...
No, Pierre Jeanneret.
Okay, both. Pierre Jeanneret?
No, Le Corbusier, we know exactly. We know all of him.
Yeah.
We know all the habits. There is a new book who just went out 1 week ago about Le Corbusier fascist, what he has done during the World War II. He was in Vichy, and with the Pétainists and everything. So we know from the beginning to the end, we know exactly Le Corbusier. And more we know Le Corbusier, less we know Pierre Jeanneret. I have been in CCA in Montreal.
Yeah.
Because I have all the archive of the van. And I take pictures of all the archive. So I have everything from Pierre Jeanneret. I have been to Geneva 3-4 times to interview the niece of Pierre Jeanneret. So she give me all the details, and as she know. I spend a lot of time with Pernette Perriand, the daughter of Charlotte. Of Charlotte Perriand. So I know as much as I can, of Pierre Jeanneret, and it's very, very little.
Why is that? Why do we know so little? He was a very private man. Even in Chandigarh, people didn't really know him. People who lived in Chandigarh for 20 years with him, didn't really know him.
No, no, no. There is not so much archive. There is very few letters. He wrote some letters to Le Corbusier, maybe 1 or 2 per year, nothing more. He was preparing a book on Chandigarh, in fact.
Yeah.
But his niece, on the bed of death, said to Pierre Jeanneret, "I will publish your book, my uncle," and she never done it, So we want to do this movie, and on the side of the movie, to publish a book on Pierre Jeanneret, a discreet architect, because in the architecture of Pierre Jeanneret is not the architecture of the cousin of Le Corbusier. Is not the same. Is not the same level. But the city of Chandigarh, does exist and is UNESCO, mostly with him,
Because of Pierre.
Because of Pierre, but with very little recognition on him. So we try to make this book in English, in fact. It will be a book in English.
That's good, yeah.
Because French are interested, with Pierre Jeanneret because of the furniture.
Yeah, that's right.
But not with the architecture. For sure the price of the furniture of
I know.
Pierre Jeanneret, which is crazy. I don't know if you have some furniture of him, in Chandigarh in the family house.
I do. I have my father's furniture, which is like also from that time and in roughly the same type. So I have a bunch of chairs here too in my home here in Seattle. Yeah.
But no one have really worked, on the architecture and tried to understand what was the architecture of Pierre Jeanneret, from the scale of the furniture up to the scale of the territory. Guy tried to do something, and I think the lesson of Chandigarh still for us, a great lesson.
So is there something about our generation being interested in Corbusier? Because, I don't know if this new generation going to school, at least here in the United States, knows Corbusier as well as we did. I'm not sure how it is in France, but here it feels to me people don't know him that well, with the sustainability and, digital computer design, the sort of the thinking of architecture, how to think about it, how to put it together, how to integrate it in the world, how to produce drawings about it, have the detail in mind, and produce all that on paper with some sketches. That world doesn't exist anymore.
I don't. Yes, probably. Maybe there is some, kind of craftsman, architect as a craftsman who are still doing this kind of architecture. I know in Switzerland, I try to do that because I still practicing, architecture, my modest level, practicing, it's as a craftsman, you still could do something.
Yes, it can be done. It can be done.
If you go through the opera of Zumthor, Zumthor in Switzerland, some Swiss architects are trying, to work like that with a very small company, only 5 to 10 people working in the office.
Right. Okay, let's get a little bit deeper into Chandigarh. Maybe some of your concepts and readings that you think are important. Maybe we can start with, and I know a lot of this is in the book, but a lot of people listening, may not have the book. So, what is your thinking about his relationship to the Meyer-Nowicki preparation? He was, of course, hired to complete the plan. But he came and completely transformed. Well, I don't know if he completely transformed it, but he took it over and sort of was strong to insist that it's his authorship. But with that discussion, you start this discussion, which I'm very interested in, of his relationship to something coming from outside, the other. Yeah. So, what is your sense of how he responded to the Meyer plan?
What is very interesting with that, it's he gives the impression to all the other that he changed everything.
Yeah.
Without changing so much, because it takes a lot of things that he discovered, he never used. The question of sectors, he was, of course, he was informed about sectors, and he used sectors in the plan of Bogota.
Yeah.
With CERT, Vienna and CERT and Wiesmann, but not as much as you could find it in the Meyer-Nowitzki plan. Not the way of living, the living in the city, living in the sectors, He discovered that, with the plan of Meyer-Nowitzki. He took it, without any, without saying that he was taking it. In fact, it's better for him. He was something like 60 years old when he arrived, even older than me now. He was a kind of old man, as we are us now. But when he arrived, so you don't have to give proof of nothing.
Yeah.
So with a lot of freedom, he take and took, and without saying a word on this borrow, on this catching of the Meyer-Nowitzki plan. There is no use for that, and it's not, as a young architect who could hide things, hide the borrow of like an artist, who borrow something from the others or from the society or from other artists. It's not this kind of problem. It's
just doing the work.
Yes, doing the work. It's him. I could catch whatever I want without saying thank you. And without writing nothing, when he wrote about Chandigarh, you have to understand as well that we have to understand, Vikram, he never wrote really about the experience of Chandigarh, no theory on the city.
Just did it.
Yes, just did it. And in fact, all the Le Corbusier, probably as you...
I have all that, yes.
Yes, all these books,
all the sketchbooks, all the oeuvre, all the...
Yes, we have everything, so we could deeply go. And what we could see, it's he make a lot of theory with the architecture, with cities. It spend a life with doing, practice, and theory, But nothing with Chandigarh.
Nothing with Chandigarh. And his biggest project. Yeah.
The biggest project give no theory at all, because it was the end of the way, for him. So you don't have to do it. Even with the plan of Berlin, the big competition in Berlin in 58. So it was 7 years after Hauptstadt Berlin in 58. A big competition. He didn't use at all what he learned from Chandigarh. He take drawings he have done before Chandigarh. Theory was older than the theory of Chandigarh. Like if Chandigarh wasn't, it's another things for him. It's not exactly in the continuation. It's on the continuation of the opera of Le Corbusier for him, but it's a part.
Yes.
And no theory at all.
It's like a dream work. It's like something that happened over here up in the sky, and he just did it. A little bit like Ronchamp also is kind of like a dream work. I mean, and this is then another dream work. He just did it with great detail and intimacy. and but in a kind of a strange land, like you said, he just sort of.
And it was very far, from this time in the, in the 50, 60 to go from Paris to Chandigarh.
3 stops, one in Switzerland, one in Egypt, one in Pakistan, the super constellations flying low.
Exactly. So he knew.
But he loved those planes, no? He loved those planes. He hated the jet planes.
Yeah, he loved the planes, but he knew that no one or very few person will go there to see the work.
From France,
from France.
In his lifetime, Now, what about his relationships, to, of course, Pierre, and then to the Indian architects and administrators, and, he had, all these diagrams about how he thinks all is going to happen, but then, in reality, in actuality, and then, of course, complicated relationships with Maxwell Fry and Jane Drew separately and together.
Yes.
So it was it was a project that was done in his office in Rue de Sèvres, but at the same time, it was not. It was a. What do you think about his complicated relationships in Chandigarh?
There is many things to say, because what was done at the beginning, there is a great evolution during the 15 years, it has been changed.
Yeah.
First of all, there is of course, we have all this drawing about the organization, management. How to be the chief, how to divide, to reign on the city, I want to be the chief, so I make them fighting one with the others. So he put Pierre Jeanneret. In fact, he want to put Candilis at the beginning. Candilis, the Greek architect, who has been working with him on Marseille, Unité d'Habitation. He asked him to go there, and he refused, Candilis. And I've done an interview with Candilis. It was very interesting. He explained to me how it was, during the time. Now he's dead, Candilis, of course. But he preferred to go to Morocco with Bodiansky on the Adbat Afrique. So Pierre Jeanneret say, okay, because of different reasons, it's too long to explain to you. It's on the
it's
book.
It's a complicated relationship.
Yes.
And
on
then
the
the
book.
disagreements over Charlotte and this and that. Yeah. But anyway, he goes.
There is Charlotte, there is the relationship with the cousin. And Pierre Jeanneret went there, and with Fry and Drew, and the hesitation of Le Corbusier. Okay, I go. No, I don't go. I call back the Indian ambassador. Yes, I want to go now. All this hesitation, the encounter with Meyer, in all this story, it's a kind of fight. It's not a normal relation of friends around the table, Architecture is not a matter of friendship for him. Maybe for us, yes, but not for him. It's not a matter of friendship. It's too important. The level of what we have to do, fight even is good for the conception, some tension give the opportunity to go at a high level.
This is an important thing. No, I mean, this idea that doing architecture was something like sacred work. It was kind of divine work. It was sort of bringing order to the universe. No, I mean, Calvinist Protestant thinking. What was it? Nietzsche. Yeah. You talk about Nietzsche. Yeah.
Yes, Nietzsche.
Overman. Yeah.
It's probably more important and the Le Platanier, you know, the teacher of Le Corbusier,
The original teacher, yeah.
the original teacher,
Yeah.
give to him, you know, the way you have to be Zarathustra, you know, you have to follow the high level of ambition for what you want for your life, in fact, for all you are doing as art, as an artist, you know, in fact, and he decided that, you know, very early, but the ambition is the highest level that you could find, and he doesn't want, you know, any transgression or any arrangement, small arrangement. So if you have to fight with others to go to this level, there is no problem with that.
No problem, yeah.
No problem. He could kill, you know. He could kill. He could, you know, be with the fascists. He could be with as soon as with the Sovietic, you know, with everyone who could give him the chance to be an architect and to build great building. But in the 50s, 60s, it has been changed because you do not have to make. You want to continue that. And Chandigarh, you know, it's the way to do it at the great level, at the level of the city, because from this time, he never had the chance, you know, just to do a Pessac, very small. I'm sure, Vikram, that you have visited all this building in France and all around the world. So he never had the chance to build a city, and Chandigarh was a great chance for him, you know. So there is, as I told you, and Fry and Drew, in fact, they are important because they give the connection with Meyer Nowitzki. And with the Anglo-Saxon way of doing the city, they are quite important for that. A bit less for the architecture, what they have done. And in fact, they have spent only a few years, 3 years in Chandigarh. Without,
they go back 1 year early, in fact,
Yes. Without, they have never been back again.
No, Jane Drew did come back. Jane Drew did come back in early 80s. Yeah. And because I have photographs of my father with Jane Drew, you know, when she came back. Yeah.
Yeah, but she came back in the 80s, you know, as a trip of souvenir.
Yeah.
Not as a professional. No. It's not a question of fighting with Le Corbusier, because could you imagine that this guy Pierre Jeanneret, you know, built in fact the drawings left by Fry and Drew. In fact, Pierre Jeanneret, who used all this material and say, okay, today we are doing the Fry building. Tomorrow we'll make Drew building, you know. And with some publication on architecture d'aujourd'hui, and Fry and Drew never been back together, you know, to say, okay, we want to see our work built.
Yeah.
You follow my point?
Yeah. No. Why didn't they go back?
Because it's not their baby, you know, their creation. It's not their creation.
They didn't feel ownership of it.
No. But I was very interesting by the Meyer book on sectors, you know, and even an article of Jane Drew. There is many people who said, okay, Chandigarh is my creation. Meyer said that on a book later on. Drew said the same, you know. Of course, Le Corbusier and Pierre Jeanneret. So for a lot of people, you know, Chandigarh is their creation.
But in the end, after the whole Chandigarh experience, I mean, where do you think Le Corbusier and Pierre Jeanneret stood with respect to each other after, you know, at the end, 65? You know, what do you think Corbusier thought of PJ and vice versa. This is purely speculative. This is just us. What do you think?
Yes, this is pure speculation because
Yeah.
we don't have any
I know.
archive
Yeah.
about that, and so few letters. It's very strange in a way because these two guys, who are relatives, who are cousins,
And worked together for so long.
for 5 decades,
Yeah.
5 or 6 decades, and at the end there are kind of strangers, one
Yeah.
with the other. They don't talk so much, they don't exchange, they don't. Architecture is the goal,
Yeah.
and nothing. Architectures, even the choice of Pierre Jeanneret to go there. Pierre Jeanneret left everything for architecture, and he dedicates all the 15 years at the end for that, for the city, for it's crazy, to deeply artist, like an artist who could die for what for his opera. So there are this kind of men, if you don't, if we want to understand, we have, I think, but it's an intuition, speculation, because I don't have nothing later. I just have fact. Pierre Jeanneret doesn't exist. But the opera is not the person. There is no importance with the person. What is important at the end is what he has done.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
No ego.
No ego. Well, yeah.
No ego. Nothing as an ego. Even on Architecture d'aujourd'hui, with publication on Chandigarh, he never put his name in the front. And he could have, he could have sent articles, he could have about what he have done, he could publish book. Even, he's very good photographer.
Pierre.
With the Pierre.
Yeah, I know.
With the Leica, he could have published book on photography of India.
Yeah.
No book, nothing.
Yeah. Well, I think he died younger than he thought he would. Maybe he thought he had a lot more to live, and then suddenly he became sick, and then he was gone in 1 year, less than a year. So maybe he was getting things ready to do it.
I don't think so.
No.
One time I said that in the book. Le Corbusier went into his rooms and he saw a canteen in the room with a lot of material.
Yeah.
He wrote Le Corbusier, I don't understand why my cousin is doing with all this material. Yeah. Maybe he want to publish something, and he was, unfair and happy with to see that.
Yeah.
Because for him, Chandigarh is the only one who could revendique Chandigarh, and Pierre Jeanneret is just executant,
Yeah, of course. That's what Corbusier thought. Yeah.
Yes.
So in the end, the Museum of Knowledge was essentially, I mean, he made a design. I don't get a sense it was a completed design, I mean, if he had more time, he would keep designing it again and again and transform it. So it's an unfinished work, no?
In this book, I spoke about that, which is a speculation, intuition, after, a lot of work on the archive, but it's still an intuition, which is an achieved opera, like when an artist do not finish because he died before the end of the work.
Yeah.
And he decide. My hypothesis is that Le Corbusier decide that the master work will be unfinished, and the master work is the Capitol complex. and it's still unfinished. In this book, I was discussing. I was searching about on this question. What was for him in the 60s? What was the importance of the, in the history of art, unfinished work? It's a kind of still very important.
Yes.
A kind of.
But unfinished because he ran out of time, or unfinished by design?
No, unfinished because he wants to make the Governor Palace, and he drew something like 500 drawings on his building, and probably something like 40 to 50 drawings on the Museum of Knowledge.
Yeah.
And when Pierre Jeanneret asked him, about drawings, and Le Corbusier, you must send us, drawings of the Museum of Knowledge. We must build it.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of urgent to do that. And Le Corbusier never answered. He gave just few drawings. He made these very bad models and the very bad architecture, this Museum of Knowledge. There is no interest compared to the Governor Palace, which is something, so clever. So it's the level of Villa Chaudan, it's much more higher than Villa Chaudan. So when I was, in Chandigarh, because now I don't go anymore to Chandigarh. There is a long time since I haven't been there.
Yeah.
It's because of Ariana that I've been back. I've been back through the book, but I have not physically. There is I don't know. When I was at the Le Corbusier Foundation, we have great fight about what to do with the Capitol complex, because the Indian administration, the Chandigarh administration, asked the foundation to an advice about what to do on the Capitol. So the foundation asked me, because I was the specialist of Chandigarh in the foundation, and I've made this book about it. But most of the information and the thinking is on the book that you have now, except that I was discussing that with musicians, with other artists, with on music, on painting, on sculpture. We were speaking about that. And on Chandigarh, Kiran Joshi was saying, okay, let's go for the Museum of Knowledge, because it's the last drawing that we have, is the most important.
Yeah.
Other people were saying in 99, when it was, the great colloquium in Chandigarh.
I remember that. Yeah. Charles Correa's,
Charles Correa, people were saying, okay, let's build something. It's not, it's not.
The proposal then was to build the Governor's Palace and call it Museum of Knowledge.
From Raj Reval,
Yeah.
were saying to do the Governor Palace.
Yeah.
And others were saying, okay, let's build a new building. I don't remember the name. Korea were saying, I want to make there a big tower, skyscraper. It's more important to be alive, it's not a sacred place.
Yeah.
This capital. Let's go ahead with the city. Kiran Joshi and advisor were saying, okay, let's do the Museum of Knowledge. For me, I did defend at this time, okay, if it's not the Governor Palace, because there is no more governor, or we could change for a museum, let's make the Museum of Knowledge inside the Governor Palace, or unfinished. Let this place unfinished, arrange things, and let's the place and finish. So for the moment, it's still like that. And I think, you know, this kind of smog on this place is there because Le Corbusier decided to make the smog happen.
What do you mean?
He never said, I want the Governor Palace to be done. I want the Museum of Knowledge to be done. I want flue. Flue meaning you couldn't see, you know, with accuracy. If I remove my glasses, you know, what I see is not clear.
Yeah. But that's by intention, is what you are saying. You know, it's like by intention.
It's
so
by
why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because in the it's the only place where he could play this high level of art thinking, which is unfinished building.
L'œuvre incomplète.
Œuvre incomplète.
Yeah.
Unfinished.
Yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, most of the great artists of the great civilization have deal with the unfinished because incomplete, you know, art. It's maybe the highest level that you could find.
Yeah, it's also like John Cage's, you know, 3 minutes 27 seconds. It's the work that is done as not done.
Yes, it's good. Incomplete work is going through history of art. You could make even a history of art through this kind of typology of art.
I mean, in one sense, you know, that work is still happening today, as you were saying. You know, it's still being done as being undone, right? It's alive. It hasn't become historic. It hasn't become of the past. It's still there now, maintenant, right? I mean, in that sense, it remains alive and enables in that sense. It creates the opening or the possibility for now your and my voice to be inserted into it, you know, so other people can join into it as a present rather than a discussion about, you know, historic past. We are historians, so we like history, but at the same time, it's possible to join the work as an ongoing today. So that's what I love about that. And you connect that to the mystery of Chandigarh. You know, like you say, you know, actually Corbusier published very little about it and said very little about it and insisted that the work is the work. Work is the fact, as you just said. So it's incomplete. It's still the largest work. And it's kind of untheorized, makes for it either a strangeness, right? Like here is Corbusier in Paris and, you know, doing a certain oeuvre of work, and then this is the strangeness. Or it is, you know, and I think you talk about this in your book here and other places, it is an effort to develop the possibility of engaging the unknown, yeah, the possibility of making space for something that is not under the big control of the Corbusian, you know, view, you know, realizing that must always remain incomplete, and therefore how to do a work that inscribes that incompleteness into it. I mean, this is how I'm trying to also, building on you and of course Tafuri, many, you know, is the sort of quality of Chandigarh.
And how to keep this quality, you know, this opening. And it's always, you know, present, and I think if we build something on the, if we they invite us, great specialists around the table to say, okay, what we are doing now with that, let it unfinished, doing the governor pass. In the same time, I was very interested, by what M.N. Sharma have done with the colline artificielle, with the la Tour des Ombres.
Yeah. Tower of Shadow, La Tour des Ombres, and the 24 solar hours. I mean, those are good to do.
It has been done, in the 80s.
Yeah, well, Aubry came and finished
Yes.
Féminière. But it's an interesting question, I mean, how do you engage the past as a living present? I mean, one is preservation, which is fine, which is good. But how do you, so like the Tower of Shadows, the Open Hand, the Martyrs Monument, these were quite completed. They were done. The design was there. It was very clear, exact comes up, right? So those were just remaining to be done. But the Capitol as a whole, and in particular, the Museum of Knowledge and its relationship to the Capitol and the northern periphery, is designed to be incomplete. But the question is it designed to be incomplete in perpetuity? Or is it designed to be incomplete as a kind of a deferment, like a deference, like a deferring and deference, right? Until such a time.
I think that Le Corbusier did put everything that this unfinished happened. We could say, okay, let's follow the path of what decide or undecide for this place. And we just arrange with landscape, make some arrangement on the ground, kind of, landscape arrangement following the modular tracé. Or I am very interested about another capital, which is the capital of Rome.
Capital of?
Roma, Italy.
Yeah.
Because the capital of Roma, has been started with Trajan and has been finished with Vignole, and even has been finished in the start of the 20th century. So it's not a question of what an artist have in mind. It's the question of the society. And probably when Vignole arrived after Michelangelo arrived after Trajan and all the medieval period and everything. So it's layer people who fight for the composition, for the same composition.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead with that. We couldn't accept that this place still unfinished up to the end of time. Chandigarh needs a place for democracy, for the expression of the democracy, a strong democracy in the highest level that India needs and Indians need to have. It's more important than Le Corbusier have in mind, it's the question of society. So my thing is to go ahead, with the Governor Palace for the people to came and make a place for conference, for art, for colloquium, for discussion, an open place, for people, and not this kind of put apart place for politician, judge, and army in the middle. We couldn't leave the place like that. And people who are playing cricket is very sympathetic, but it's not at the level of what we need. So it's not because I understood that Le Corbusier wants this unfinished place that we must follow what he have in mind. Don't you think so?
I don't know. I'm unsure still. I remain open. I mean, I think it has to be layered, right? I mean, the Vignolis, the new architects come in.
Yes.
But what that means has to be an ongoing discussion and an ongoing discourse. I mean, I don't think the governor's palace should be built because it is such a iconic design. If you put it there, it will suck all the air out. Nothing happens after that. Because it's a already masterpiece even before it is made. So it will finish.
Yes, but the place is waiting for that. It has been, all the place has been things for this building. And okay, I share with you what you just say now, but on the same time, we will be very happy, Mr. Vikram, to go together and to climb onto the building up to the terrace.
Of course,
to look at the place, We'll be very, very happy to do that.
I would be very happy to do that. I would be very happy to do that. I think I would be joyous, but there'd be a little anxiety here. There'd be a little anxiety.
No, but we have the example. It's not the only one, but the chapel of Firmini.
Firmini, by Uberei.
By Uberei.
Yeah.
We go there, and I don't like this man Uberei and what he have done, I want to put my name in this building and everything. But I am very happy to see this building of Le Corbusier finished, because I have been there, before, and it was just nothing, on the land, just some foundation of the building was being started and already blocked as a historical monument in France.
Right.
And so to go there, even if I was unhappy with Oubrerie ego, I was really happy to go inside the building and enjoy this space, which was fantastic. It's there is no other things like that in the opera even of Le Corbusier.
Yeah.
And I'm sure to go inside the Governor Palace, there is no other place at this level, with this kind of space. So to enjoy that, because we have all the drawings, we have 500 drawings with all, and Le Corbusier doesn't need details. There is some people who say, as an argument, Le Corbusier is not there. He's not there to rule the site work, But even when he was there, he was never there.
Yeah.
Pierre Jeanneret was there. Doshi was there. Even
it can be done.
Now maybe it's too late, but for a long time, Doshi could have been the one, say, okay, Le Corbusier would have done that. Le Corbusier would have said with a rough concrete to do this and this, a small arrangement who need to be done during the site work. But even other people, it's not, like architecture where the detail, like Scarpa, Carlos Scarpa,
No, it's not like Scarpa, yeah.
It's not Scarpa, it's big, tough concrete, big space, big column, nothing with details.
No. Yeah. No, it can certainly be done, and I would love to see it. And I want to climb the steps all the way up to the sleeping terrace at the top. He wanted the governor's family to sleep out there with their charpais. So, well, anyway, we have to unfortunately stop recording because we've been more than an hour.
Thank you for listening to Architecture Talk. This is your producer, Amelia Jarvinen. We hope you enjoyed the conversation, and if you did, please subscribe and rate us on iTunes or Spotify. We would also love to hear from you if you have any suggestions on new topics or guests. You can always reach out to us on our website, Facebook, or Instagram. Thanks again, and until next time, this is Architecture Talk.